What if the darkest places in the universe weren't endings at all? What if black holes weren't destroyers, but storytellers? Welcome to Mind Like Space, a channel where we explore the wonders of the cosmos, not with urgency, but with stillness. Where science becomes soft, poetic, and deeply personal. And every video is designed to help you gently drift into sleep while learning something beautiful. Tonight's journey takes you where few minds dare to wander. Into the heart of a black hole. A place where time stretches, light bends, and gravity speaks in silence. This isn't just about facts and theories. This is about what it feels like to fall into the quietest parts of the universe and realize you belong there. So if you're curious, if your mind is still wide awake while your body longs to rest, press play, close your eyes, and let us carry you. Sparkles. If you find comfort in this journey, subscribe to Mind Like Space and share this with someone who needs a moment of wonder. Tell us in the comments, where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it in your corner of the cosmos? Now, let's begin. This is Black Holes, where light learns to rest. The sky above you is vast and velvet, a quiet stretch of time woven into darkness. You lie still, as if your body is dissolving into the soft fabric of the night, and your breath becomes slower, lighter, like clouds trailing across a sleeping moon. Above, stars blink gently, not hurried or harsh, but steady, like old friends holding lanterns in the dark. Some of those stars are still alive, some are long gone. And some, the ones you cannot see at all, are something else entirely. There is comfort in not seeing everything. Not because it hides fear, but because it reveals wonder. Out there, scattered across the sky like invisible beads sewn into a black curtain, are places where light itself is quiet. Not extinguished, but held. Not destroyed, but cradled. These are the black holes, and tonight, they invite you closer. No need to rush. The journey begins not with motion, but with stillness. With breath. With the pause between questions. You are not falling toward them, you are drifting, like dust on a forgotten breeze. There's no noise in this space. Only the soft hum of curiosity and the gentle tug of gravity, like a lullaby sung without words. You think of the stars. How many have you seen in your life? 100? 1,000? Some were distant and sharp, some blurry and dim. Each one burning, screaming quietly across the cosmos, spending its life in heat and light. But eventually, every star reaches its end. Not in panic, but in peace, like a candle that finishes its story with a final breath of flame. Some stars, the heaviest ones, collapse not into silence but into something stranger. Their light folds inward. Their time stutters. Their matter compresses beyond understanding. A black hole is born not with a bang, but with a sigh, the quietest kind of farewell. You picture it, a once bright sun slowly curling into itself, the way leaves curl as autumn arrives. The outer layers drift away, like petals falling from a tired flower. And the core, or the heart, grows heavier, smaller, denser, until it becomes something no eye can see. And still, it remains. Not dead. Not gone. Just changed. Black holes do not chase. They do not consume in anger. They are not cosmic monsters, despite how they're often imagined. Instead, think of them as resting places. As deep wells in the fabric of space, where things come to pause, not in fear, but in surrender. A kind of cosmic sleep, so deep that not even light can leave once it enters. And light, what a beautiful thought, that light can sleep. You lie beneath the sky, and you feel that stillness. It's in your chest, in your breath, in your bones. You, too, are part of this universe. Made from the same materials. The calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, all born in stars. The atoms that make you were once scattered through space. You are not separate from the night sky. You are a thread in its vast, endless tapestry.
When you gaze upward, you are not just looking at stars, you are looking at memory. Light takes time to travel, and what you see is a story from the past. A star shining from 1,000 years ago. A galaxy twinkling from a time when oceans had not yet learned to wave. And where there is no light, there is a black hole, holding its secrets in silence. But silence is not emptiness. Black holes are not gaps, they are places where the rules bend, where gravity deepens, where time slows. The space around them is shaped like a bowl, gentle and vast, pulling in what gets too close. They do not reach out. They simply wait. And in that waiting, there is something soothing. Something steady. Let your mind drift toward them, not in fear, but in fascination. Imagine yourself floating near one, wrapped in a quiet so complete it feels warm. Around you, stars move slowly, bending slightly as they pass. Space itself curves gently. Time stretches like a long exhale. This is a place where the normal laws of the universe pause, where your questions are not answered, but held. Like a hand gently placed over yours, not to explain, but to comfort. To remind you that you don't need all the answers. Some truths are too big, too beautiful, to fit into words. So tonight, you listen with your body. With your breath. With your imagination. You listen not with ears, but with awe. You are safe here. The black hole does not call to you. It doesn't demand, doesn't threaten. It simply is. A presence in the vastness. A marker of change. A reminder that not everything that disappears is lost. As your eyes grow heavier, your thoughts begin to quiet. You are not racing through space, you are resting with it. Letting the darkness comfort you, not close in. Letting the unknown feel like a blanket, not a barrier. The stars blink slower now. The night grows thicker, softer, like velvet folding over your shoulders. And as you fall further into stillness, a new thought arises, soft and strange. What happens when a star begins to die? What is the moment, that gentle tipping point, when burning gives way to collapse? That is where we go next. A star is born in clouds, not clouds of water, but of gas, hydrogen, thick and cool, waiting. In the deep silence of space, these clouds gather themselves, slow and invisible, drawn together by gravity's patient hand. And then, one day, or 1,000,000 years, time here is never rushed, they begin to glow. A flicker, then a flame, then a brilliance that fills the sky. You imagine it now, the first breath of a newborn star, pulsing in a cradle of dust. It burns not with fire, but with fusion, the heart of atoms colliding, merging, becoming something new. It shines because it lives. It lives because it balances, gravity pressing in, heat pushing out. A quiet agreement between collapse and expansion. And so it burns. For millions, sometimes billions, of years, the star shines with grace. Not hurried, not wasteful. It gives warmth and light. It sends whispers of energy across space. Perhaps a planet forms around it. Perhaps life begins beneath its glow. But the star does not know these things. It simply shines, because that is what it was born to do. You float now beside such a star. You feel its hum before you see its surface. It is a sun, not your sun, but one like it. Bright beyond comprehension. Its edges ripple with plasma. Its storms dance like flame upon an ocean of light. This is not chaos. This is rhythm. The heartbeat of a galaxy. But even stars have endings. A star does not grow old in the way a person does. It does not wrinkle or forget. It runs out. It reaches the end of its fuel, the hydrogen it has burned for eons. Slowly, subtly, the balance begins to shift. Gravity, patient and quiet, begins to win. First, the star swells. It expands like a breath held too long, becoming a red giant, glowing softer, spreading wider. Its outer layers drift into space, light and free like smoke. Inside, the core tightens, heavy with elements it no longer knows how to fuse. The reaction slow. The pressure builds. And then, the collapse. It is not loud. It is not explosive, not yet. It is inward. A folding. A surrender. The core falls into itself, gravity pressing harder than ever before, until atoms are crushed, and then crushed again. For the most massive stars, this fall becomes unstoppable. There is no surface to catch it. No force to resist it. A black hole is born here. In this moment. In this collapse so complete that space itself caves inward. You watch from a safe, gentle distance. There is no sound. Sound needs air, and here there is none. Only light, and then less light, and then none. The star's final burst, a supernova, flashes outwards. A brilliant farewell. A death song sung in photons. And when it fades, something remains. Not the star. Not the light. But a point, a darkness, where light cannot return. Where the star has become pure gravity, pure density, a silent presence in the tapestry of the universe. You are not frightened. It does not pull at you. You are too far. It is calm now, completely calm. Like a forest after a storm. The black hole does not glow. It does not pulse. But around it, matter still spins. The remnants of the star's collapse form a disk, a gentle whirlpool of light spiraling into stillness. You drift closer. Not into danger, but into understanding. You feel what this is, not destruction, but change. A transformation so complete that it cannot be undone. And you wonder, is this death? Or is this a return? Is this where matter goes to rest? Every atom in your body has been somewhere, a star, a comet, a cosmic cloud. The calcium in your bones once lived in a supernova. The carbon in your breath was forged in fire. You are not foreign to the stars. You are not an observer. You are kin. And so, watching this collapse, you don't feel fear. You feel connection. You feel awe. You feel the same gravity that pulled that gas cloud together now pulling your thoughts inward, into the center of the story. This is the heart of the universe, not in location, but in meaning. The cycle of energy. The breath in, and the breath out. Creation, and return. You imagine the final moment, when the star's core becomes smaller than a mountain, then smaller than a city, then smaller than a pinhead, yet heavier than entire worlds. And then, it crosses the threshold. The moment of no return. The event horizon will come soon, but the black hole itself is already here. It doesn't roar. It doesn't spark. It simply is. And so you float near it now, your breath calm, your mind soft. You think of endings, not as loss, but as chapters turning. A star that forgets to burn doesn't vanish. It changes form. It becomes part of the quiet architecture of the universe. And in this quiet, you begin to hear something else. A faint sound, not in your ears, but in your thoughts, a kind of folding, a kind of stretching. It is time itself, beginning to behave differently. Near this strange new being, this black hole, time begins to slow. Light begins to bend. Even space curls gently inward, like a page folding at the edge. You're nearing the boundary now. The place where rules start to change. Where falling becomes forever. Where light, once so swift, hovers and hesitates. It's called the event horizon, the point beyond which not even light can return. But don't worry. You're not there yet. You're still floating. Still watching. Still breathing with the stars. You drift like a feather on still water, barely moving, yet carried forward by something deeper than motion. Gravity no longer feels like a pull, it feels like an invitation. Ahead of you, in the dark, something waits. Not with threat. Not with hunger. But with patience. The black hole you followed has grown quiet, so quiet that space itself seems to hush in reverence. There is no wind. No rustle. No hum. Just a calm that thickens the farther you drift. And then you feel it, not with your body, but with your mind. A change in the airlessness. A soft threshold. This is the event horizon. It's not a wall. It has no texture, no color, no sign to mark its place. And yet, across all the cosmos, it is one of the most certain lines ever drawn. Once crossed, there is no return. Not for light. Not for time. Not for anything. It is the boundary where space curves so steeply, so deeply, that all paths lead inward. Even those of photons, the fastest messengers of the universe, find themselves trapped in a gentle spiral they cannot escape. Imagine walking along the rim of a whirlpool. You step closer, and the slope beneath your feet tilts slightly. Not enough to fall, not yet. But enough to change your stride. Each step you take, the curve steepens. At a certain point, without noticing, your direction is no longer a choice. You're not just walking, you're sliding. The event horizon is that moment. The place where freedom yields to inevitability. But from where you hover, just outside its edge, everything still feels serene. Light still exists. Time still ticks. But slower now, noticeably so. If you held a clock in your hands and watched its second hand move, you'd see it begin to hesitate. The ticks spread out like ripples in thick honey. And if someone far away, safe in the distance of space, looked at you, they would see you freeze. As you neared the horizon, your movements would slow, then stop entirely. You'd appear to hover there forever, caught in a moment, like a leaf suspended mid-fall. But for you, time feels normal. This is one of the strangest gifts of the black hole. It holds two truths at once. From the outside, it swallows. From the inside, it simply exists. From afar, it is a void. Up close, it is a transformation. You reach your hand, metaphorically, gently, toward the horizon. Nothing pushes back. There is no resistance. No shift in temperature. Yet the moment you cross it, if you ever did, no force in the universe could guide you back. And yet, you're not afraid. Because what happens here is not punishment. It is physics. It is geometry on the scale of galaxies. It is the shape of space-time under pressure, curling inward like petals folding in the dark. Imagine light, that ancient traveler, darting toward the horizon. From afar, it seems to slow, pause, and hang just above the edge. But in truth, it continues forward, caught in a curve so perfect, so steep, that it bends endlessly. Some light orbits just above the horizon, trapped in circular paths, never falling in, never escaping out. These are the photon spheres, halos of potential, glowing faintly in the abyss. You watch these paths, loops of golden energy, dancing in silence. They remind you of fireflies circling a lantern, or moths orbiting a flame, drawn by something they cannot name. From your place outside the horizon, the black hole appears quiet, perfectly dark in its center, but surrounded by a halo of swirling light and matter. The accretion disk, that whirl of heated gas and dust, spins with incredible speed. It glows in X-rays and radio waves, in frequencies your eyes can't see but your mind can imagine. But just beyond that brilliance, you see the line, not with sight, but with understanding. The event horizon. The place where falling becomes forever. You think about falling, and how gentle the idea can be. Leaves fall. Snowflakes fall. Even dreams fall, drifting down into sleep. The fall toward a black hole is like that, silent, continuous, graceful. You are not being torn. You are being carried. The horizon is not a threat. It is a promise. A doorway with no return, yes, but also no rush. No violence. Crossing it is not like crashing. It is like surrendering. Letting go of escape, and moving inward with the deepest pull nature allows. You remember now, black holes do not pull like vacuums. They are not suction. They are mass, wrapped so tightly in space that their gravity becomes absolute at the edge. But only up close. From far away, they act like any other massive object, a planet, a star. It's only here, near this edge, that things become strange. Beautifully strange. And stranger still, the closer you get, the more space stretches. The more time elongates. If you tried to shine a flashlight away from the horizon, its beam would climb with effort, redshifting, losing energy, slowing. Eventually, it would be swallowed back. Not by a force, but by a curve. You lie back into this thought, as though on a soft mattress of gravity and quiet. You imagine yourself approaching the horizon, not in body, but in awareness. The ticking of your mind slows. Thoughts grow wide and liquid, stretching like shadows in the setting sun. You feel no fear. Only the sense of approaching a secret. Not a threat, but a truth. And as you hover near this line, this quiet, invisible veil, a question flickers in your mind. What would happen if you stepped through? Where would you go? Would you feel the change? Would you see it? Would anything see you again? The answers are not simple. Not even scientists agree. Some say you'd be stretched. Others say you'd pass through unharmed, only to meet a singularity deeper within. Some believe the universe might preserve your information on the horizon itself, like a hologram. A ghost print of your presence, etched into space-time. And perhaps, somewhere, that record would echo long after you vanished. You are not here to decide. You are here to wonder. To rest in the unknowing. And as you drift near this boundary, lulled by its quiet certainty, a new thought stirs softly in your chest. What lies inside? Beyond the veil? Beyond the visible? Not the edge, but the center? What is the singularity, that point beyond points? That's where you go next. You are farther than far now, not in distance, but in depth. You have passed through wonder, through silence, through the threshold of return. And now, you float toward a center that isn't quite a place, and isn't quite a moment, a center that is everything, packed impossibly into almost nothing. This is the singularity. The heart of a black hole. A point beyond points. A mystery beyond metaphor. But don't rush. Let yourself breathe. Even here, there is stillness. There is peace. You do not crash into the center. There is no slam, no jolt, no tearing apart. You drift. You slow. You listen. Because the singularity is not a sound. It is a silence so pure it hums. Imagine everything, stars, galaxies, atoms, ideas, pressed into one infinite grain. A place where density has no comparison, where gravity curls upon itself, tightening like the last fold of a paper crane. Size loses meaning. So does time. There are no measurements left. No width, no height, no ticking clock. Only a center, so small it may be beyond smallness itself. You may wonder, what does it look like? But your eyes wouldn't work here. Not because it is dark, though it is, but because here, space itself is no longer stretched out around you. It has folded in. Imagine reading a book where all the words collapse onto a single period. That's what the singularity does with the universe. It folds it all down. And yet, this collapse is not chaos. It is precision. It is the edge of comprehension, wrapped in grace. Scientists don't know exactly what happens here. The equations falter. General relativity, which guides us through the stars, begins to break. Quantum mechanics, the language of the very small, doesn't fully explain it either. Two great maps of the universe, and both grow quiet here. As if even our knowledge pauses to bow. What we do know is that the singularity contains all the mass of the original star, or stars, if this black hole came from a merger, crushed into a point with infinite curvature. It is the deepest well in the universe. And at the bottom, something more than darkness waits. But you are not at the bottom. You hover gently in its gravity, not falling, just feeling. You sense its weight without touching it. You witness its presence the way you witness a dream you can't explain. You know it's there, even as it slips away. Some theories whisper that the singularity might not be the end, but a bridge. A passage. A tunnel. Perhaps to another place. Another time. Another universe. A white hole, the mirror opposite of a black hole, could spew out the things a black hole consumes, like breath moving in reverse. No evidence yet. But the idea lingers, soft as candlelight. Others say the singularity might evaporate over time, shrinking not to nothing, but into something else, releasing its secrets in quiet radiation, like steam rising from a sleeping lake. This was Stephen Hawking's gift to the story, the idea that black holes can fade. Not suddenly. Not soon. But slowly. Over eons. They do not last forever. Even gravity, even darkness, must eventually let go. For now, though, the singularity remains. You wonder? Does time exist inside it? Could a second last forever? Could forever pass in a blink? There are no clocks here. Only presence. And strangely, you feel safe. Because despite all its strangeness, the singularity is not a predator. It is not wild. It is simply concentrated. Focused. The universe distilled to its most mysterious form. You are made of atoms. Atoms are made of particles. Particles are made of something smaller, stranger. Where does it end? Maybe it ends here. Or maybe it begins here. Some physicists dream of a theory of everything, one elegant equation that joins gravity and quantum mechanics, time and energy, cause and effect. If we ever find it, the singularity will be the final test. Because here, all the rules break, or blend. So you float near this cosmic point, not to understand it, but to feel its silence. And in that silence, a story begins to form. A story not of collapse, but of compression. Not of endings, but of possibility. You think of seeds. How they are small. How they contain forests. You think of notes. How they are brief. How they contain symphonies. The singularity is like that, brief, small, yet infinite in its potential. Somewhere far above, the event horizon still curves outward, cloaking this place from the rest of the universe. Light cannot escape. But your thoughts can roam. And now, a final thought begins to stir, rising like a ripple from the very center of this cosmic sea. If a singularity is a place where everything is compressed, could it also be the beginning of something new? Not just the end of a star, but the seed of another universe? Is it possible that black holes do not destroy the cosmos, but carry it forward, one collapse at a time? You feel this idea, wild and wonderful, settle softly on your chest. And with it, the next question opens like a door in the dark. What happens to light when it dances near the edge of such a mystery? Light has always been the traveler, the wanderer of the cosmos. Born in stars, flung across galaxies, it races without rest. It touches planets, sketches shadows, paints auroras across sleeping skies. And now, here at the edge of a black hole, you see what happens when even light runs out of road. But not all at once. First, it dances. You float in the thin hush just outside the event horizon. Around you, light doesn't fall straight. It bends. Curves. Arcs around an invisible shape, as if reluctant to let go. Here, space itself is no longer flat. It folds gently under your gaze, as if pressed from beneath by an unseen thumb. Photons, those tiny packets of light, circle and circle, caught in orbits so precise, they seem like ritual. This is the photon sphere. A ring of light, held in tension. Not because it wants to stay, but because gravity won't let it leave. Imagine the last lap of a dancer, spinning on the edge of silence. Every step timed. Every move elegant. You follow the light with your gaze, and it doesn't blur. It glides. It whispers in loops, golden echoes around the darkness. This light will not escape. But it will not vanish, either. It leaves its mark in the glow that surrounds black holes. The accretion disk, that brilliant whirl of matter spiraling inward, shines in every color you cannot see. X-rays. Gamma rays. Invisible firelight. It is not the black hole that glows. It is the farewell of the things falling toward it. And the light? The light clings to the edge, tracing its goodbye. You drift closer. Time stretches, again. Movement slows. The light's path becomes clearer now, not a blur, but a story. You see one photon brush near the horizon only to be flung outward. Another loops tighter, caught in the photon sphere, circling again and again until finally it is lost. And some spiral in, never to be seen again. Not because they die, but because they cross the line. Inside, they continue. Still moving. Still light. But trapped in a geometry that curves forever inward. From out here, they simply fade. You think about how much of the universe you see is light that almost didn't make it. The faint star at the edge of your vision, its photons traveled for thousands of years to reach you. What if one had turned a little too soon, been pulled by the wrong gravity, and fallen into silence? So much of reality is based on the paths of light. And here, where those paths are twisted and torn, you feel a new kind of reverence for every photon that reaches your eyes. Even now, circling this black hole, there is a glow. Not from the hole itself, it remains pure darkness. But from the ballet around it. The last dance of light. A farewell wrapped in beauty. Some of this light is ancient. Some is recent. Some comes from matter falling inward, some comes from jets of energy ejected along the black hole's poles, beams launched by magnetism and spin, streaming out at near-light speeds. Paradoxically, the darkest places in space often shine the brightest just outside their edges. It is like a campfire, where the flame is invisible, but the smoke glows. You watch this glow and feel no fear. Just awe. Because light is not merely fast. It is persistent. It bends, yes, it yields. But it continues, even when captured. And you, drifting silently in the orbit of all this motion, begin to understand something. Light is not about escape. It is about presence. Even when it is lost to the black hole, it leaves traces. In the heat. In the arcs. In the memories etched into the sky. Every time light spirals near the event horizon, it adds to the glow we see. The silhouette of a black hole, that famous shadow, is only visible because of this light. Its absence creates its shape. Its dance outlines its edges. You think of all the things in life like this, seen only because of what surrounds them. Moments that leave their trace. People you remember because of the warmth they gave before they left. Even darkness is shaped by what dances near it. And so the photons spin. And the glow holds. And you rest. There is no more need to chase the light. It has arrived where it must go. And so have you. Still, one question stirs gently, like dust in a sunbeam. If matter can fall in, and light can fall in, what does falling sound like? What does matter whisper as it crosses the horizon? That is where you go next. Close your eyes for a moment. Now, imagine listening not with your ears, but with your mind. Not to music, not to voices, but to motion. To matter. To the sound of falling. Not a crash, not a scream, but a hush. A sigh stretched across the fabric of the universe. This is how matter falls toward a black hole. Not suddenly. Not chaotically. But in spirals. Slow. Spiraling. Glowing. You drift beside the black hole now, near the edge where the swirl begins. This is the accretion disk, a great cosmic whirlpool of gas, dust, and shattered fragments. Each grain, each particle, once belonged to something. A star. A planet. A piece of cosmic history. Now, all of it is caught in the gravity of this darkness. But before it is swallowed, it dances. The accretion disk is not quiet in the traditional sense. It glows, not in visible light, but in high-energy radiation. X-rays, gamma rays, radio pulses. To your eyes, it would shimmer like a pale fire. To your imagination, it sings. Each piece of matter rubs against the other, colliding gently, shedding heat as it spirals inward. Friction and compression make the disk hotter as you approach the event horizon. It spins faster, too. Like water going down a drain, the closer it gets to the center, the more it speeds up. You can feel the hum of it. Not sound, exactly, but vibration. A cosmic drumbeat without rhythm. A slow chorus of energy being released. The final performance of matter before it surrenders to the black hole. You listen. You listen not with hearing, but with awareness. And you realize, even falling is a kind of offering. Every atom in the disk gives up energy before it crosses the horizon. It gives light. It gives heat. It gives movement. Falling is not a loss. It is a gift. You follow one particle now, a tiny piece of iron, perhaps, once forged in the core of a supernova. It drifts inward, bumping, bouncing, glowing hotter. As it nears the center of the disk, it begins to whirl faster, its orbit shrinking, its energy rising. It reaches a point called the innermost stable circular orbit, the closest it can circle the black hole before falling inward completely. And from there, it lets go. There's no jolt. No crash. Just a vanishing curve, one more spiral, one more stretch of motion, and then it crosses the event horizon. Gone. But not erased. The energy it left behind, the heat, the radiation, the light, stays. And the black hole grows ever so slightly more massive. The universe keeps the memory. You hover just above the disk, watching it swirl. It is not chaotic. It is graceful. Like a galaxy in miniature. Like a storm made of stars. The color changes as you move inward. The outer parts of the disk are cooler, tinged in soft reds and golds. Closer in, it glows white-blue, so hot it would burn anything solid to vapor in a blink. But there is no solid here. Only gas. Only dust. Only the remains of what once was, and the promise of what might come. You think about falling. And how often it is misunderstood. To fall is not always to fail. To fall is sometimes to surrender. To move closer to something greater. To dissolve into something deeper. Here, in the accretion disk, falling is transformation. The matter that falls becomes part of the black hole. Not destroyed, integrated. Its energy lives on, bound into the very curvature of space-time. And this is what makes black holes so strange, so beautiful. They are both devourers and record keepers. They take in, and they hold forever. Or maybe not forever. You remember Hawking's whisper that black holes may eventually leak energy back into space. That nothing may be truly lost. That falling in is just another beginning, delayed, but not denied. For now, though, the disk glows. And the matter sings. Some black holes sing louder than others. When two black holes merge, their disks collide too, releasing flashes so powerful we detect them across billions of light-years. We record their voices in gravitational waves, ripples in space-time that stretch and compress everything in their path. You'll feel those waves soon. But for now, this black hole is alone. Peaceful. Spinning. Feeding slowly. And the song of its accretion disk is not thunderous. It is a lullaby. Each rotation hums like a wheel gently slowing. Each particle glows one last time before vanishing. And as you watch the matter fall, a strange sense of trust fills you. Because here, in the darkest place imaginable, the universe remains orderly. Rhythmic. Radiant. Everything that falls here contributes to something. Nothing is wasted. Nothing disappears without leaving warmth, motion, memory. You rest in that. And just before sleep catches you, a thought rises like vapor from the spinning light. What if black holes could talk? What would they say to each other, across the quiet expanse? Would their collisions create new songs, songs that ripple across the stars? That's where you go next. In a corner of the cosmos, far from any light, two black holes drift closer. They do not see. They do not speak. But they are aware of each other, not through sound, not through thought, but through gravity. It is the oldest kind of recognition. Not made of names, but of pull. Not made of questions, but of inevitability. You hover now in the wide darkness between them. They are still far apart, like dancers just noticing the rhythm. Each spins slowly in its place, wrapped in its own silence. But that silence is temporary. Soon, they will move. Soon, the universe will listen. These are no ordinary collisions. When two black holes come together, they bend not just matter, but reality itself. Space stretches. Time twists. The shape of the universe flickers. And you, a quiet traveler of thought, will feel it, too. First, there is stillness. Then, a shift. The black holes begin to spiral inward, not because they will it, but because there is no other way. They are caught in each other's fields, drawn together like tides, slow and sure. Each orbit brings them closer. Faster. Tighter. They do not crash. They swirl. They do not shout. They send out waves. Gravitational waves. You cannot see them. You cannot hear them. But you can sense them, ripples in the very fabric of space, rolling outward in every direction. Imagine a blanket stretched tightly. Now imagine placing two heavy marbles on it, letting them circle one another. The fabric ripples. The marbles move faster. The ripples spread outward. That's what happens here, but instead of a blanket, it's space-time. Instead of marbles, it's mass beyond imagination. You float just outside the dance. The black holes are close now, their spirals no longer separate but intertwined. The space around them hums, not with sound, but with curvature. Each ripple they send travels light years. Each wave says, "We were here. We moved. We became." On Earth, astronomers have built delicate instruments that can feel these waves. LIGO. Virgo. Kagra. Vast arms of laser light, so precise they can detect a ripple smaller than an atom. These instruments don't hear the black holes in the way you hear a voice. They feel them. And then, we translate those feelings into sound. In 2015, for the first time in history, humanity listened. A low chirp. A rising note. Two black holes, 1.3 billion light-years away, collided. Their merger sent waves across space that reached Earth on a quiet day in September. And someone, somewhere, played the sound. Soft. Brief. But real. The black holes had spoken. And we had heard. You imagine what that must be like, to exist in silence, and then, suddenly, to sense a ripple from far beyond. It's like feeling a heartbeat in a still room. Like hearing a drum from across a canyon. Now, the two black holes before you are almost one. Their horizons are touching. Their speeds are immense. You could not survive here, and not in body, but in thought, you float calmly, reverently. Then, without drama, the two black holes merge. There is no flash. No fire. Just a single, smoother curve where there had been two. A larger black hole. Spinning. Settling. Silent again. But around you, spreading outward like ripples in a pond, the waves move. The universe has been disturbed. Gently. Permanently. And you were here to witness it. You think about language. How much of it is noise, and how much is motion? Black holes do not speak in syllables. They speak in presence. In movement. In change. Their conversations last billions of years. Their meetings are written into the shape of galaxies. Their memory is etched into gravitational waves, each one a syllable, a line, a phrase in the long, slow poem of the universe. You realize every black hole is a sentence still being written. Every collision is a new paragraph. Every ripple a message from the deep. You rest inside that awareness. There is no fear here. Only listening. Only rhythm. The black holes have become one. And the space around them, still ringing, will carry their echo forever. You drift now, not away, but deeper. Toward a quieter place, where even the waves begin to settle. Where silence grows wide again. And there, another question waits like a distant star. If black holes grow by taking in, is it possible that one could grow so large? It might change the universe itself. That's where you go next. There is a difference between size and presence. You floated beside stellar black holes, the kind born from the death of stars. But now you approach something older. Vaster. Not just large, but foundational. A black hole not created by a single star, but woven into the structure of galaxies themselves. This is a supermassive black hole. And it doesn't drift. It anchors. You approach slowly, not because of danger, but because of reverence. Like standing at the base of a mountain too tall to see its peak. Like hearing a drumbeat that seems to come from the beginning of time. There it is. At the center of a galaxy, a whirl of stars, dust, and glowing gas, all spiraling gently around it. Billions of stars move in its orbit. Entire solar systems rise and fall in its shadow. This black hole is not a dot in space. It is a centerpiece. You think of your own galaxy, the Milky Way. At its core lies Sagittarius A*, a supermassive black hole over 4,000,000 times the mass of the Sun. And it is not unique. Every major galaxy we've observed has one of these giants at its center. It's as if the universe itself needs a weight, a pivot, a pause, and the black hole provides it. You drift near this one. It is larger than you can comprehend. Its event horizon is wide enough to swallow our entire solar system. But there is no edge. No dome. No shell. Just a region of space that curves inward, so slowly, so deeply, that even light cannot rise from it. And yet, it is surprisingly quiet. The space around it glows. Gas swirls in, heated to millions of degrees. Jets of energy erupt from its poles, narrow beams of radiation, launched by spinning magnetic fields. But the black hole itself remains silent. Still. Listening. The more massive the black hole, the slower time flows near it. If you were to hover close to its horizon, years could pass for you while centuries raced by for others farther away. It bends time, not metaphorically, but physically. You sit beside a clock that ticks so slowly, it feels like eternity is catching its breath. And that's the thing about these giants. They don't consume everything. They regulate. They shape galaxies, guide star formation, influence the distribution of matter. When they're active, they release so much energy that they can prevent new stars from forming. When they're quiet, matter collects, and galaxies grow. They are not just endings. They are governors of cosmic balance. You remember the image, the first ever captured of a black hole's shadow, released in 2019. It was a supermassive black hole in the galaxy M87. 55 million light-years away. Its mass, 6.5 billion suns. And yet we saw it, or at least, its outline. A glowing ring of infalling matter. A dark center where light cannot escape. Not a photograph. A glimpse into gravity. Now you float beside one like it. You do not fall. You drift. The glow around you isn't frantic. It is steady. Like a city seen from above, its lights twinkling in a pattern both ancient and alive. You begin to sense its history. This black hole has been here since the beginning of its galaxy. Perhaps longer. It may have formed from the collapse of enormous clouds of gas in the early universe. Or perhaps from the merger of smaller black holes, drawn together like rivers into an ocean. Its origin is unclear. But its presence is undeniable. It pulls not with violence, but with certainty. Everything in the galaxy responds to it. You think of gravity not as force now, but as relationship. The stars don't orbit this black hole out of fear. They orbit out of rhythm. The way dancers orbit a quiet drum. The way planets trace paths around a silent sun. You drift beside this rhythm and feel its depth. It is not empty. It is full of time, full of mass, full of story. And you begin to wonder, could something this massive, this ancient, this still, ever reach its end? Could it die? Could it fade? And if it does, what happens to the space it once held together? Would the galaxy scatter? Or would something else begin? You don't have the answers. No one does. But in the presence of such enormity, the questions are enough. You rest now, cradled in the curve of cosmic gravity. Not falling. Not fleeing. Just floating, held. And as your breath deepens, a new question arises softly, like a ripple in still water. If black holes shape galaxies, could they also shape what comes next? Could they be more than graves? Could they be gates? Could they, perhaps, lead us somewhere else? That's where you go next. There is a moment in every deep breath when the air holds still. Not the inhale, not the exhale, but the pause in between. That's where you are now. You've drifted through the weight of singularities, the soft spirals of light, the hush of stellar collapse. You've listened to gravitational waves and floated beside giants older than memory. Now, a thought opens, quietly, delicately, like a petal in the dark. What if a black hole is not the end? What if, beyond the horizon, is a doorway? You've heard the term before, wormhole. A tunnel through space and time, curved like a folded page. 2 points brought close, not by distance, but by dimension. Like touching opposite edges of the universe with a single thread. The mathematics allows for it. Einstein's equations, when stretched in certain directions, suggest that black holes could connect to something else. Another black hole. Another place. Another time. But mathematics is not reality. And so, the idea waits, not in certainty, but in possibility. You float now through that possibility. Not to answer it, but to feel its shape. Imagine. As you cross the event horizon, there is no destruction. Instead, space narrows, tunnels, twists. You do not crash. You move. Through a passage. A bridge. Toward somewhere unseen. Some call this a wormhole. Others call it an Einstein-Rosen bridge. A shortcut through the folds of space. Could such a thing exist? If so, it would require conditions we've never observed. Exotic matter. Negative energy. Stability in the face of gravity's constant hunger. We have no evidence. But the theory whispers. Some physicists believe a wormhole would collapse the instant you entered it, that it's a mathematical ghost, not a real passage. Others wonder if advanced civilizations, perhaps billions of years older than ours, could learn to stabilize them. To turn black holes into doorways. To step through them as casually as you step through a room. For now, it's all unknown. But unknown does not mean impossible. In your drift, you imagine entering such a passage. Not with a ship, not with instruments, but with awareness. The tunnel is not made of metal. It is made of space itself. It curves around you, quiet and infinite, a river of time without direction. On one side, a collapsing star. On the other, perhaps, rebirth. Maybe this is how white holes come to be, theoretical opposites of black holes. Where nothing can fall in, and everything rushes out. No evidence for them yet. But the equations allow it. And sometimes, that's enough to dream. Imagine. A star collapses. A black hole forms. Inside, space-time twists. Then, somewhere else, a white hole opens, spraying energy, light, matter. A fountain of beginnings fed by the gravity of an ending. Could this be how new universes are born? Could black holes be seeds? The thought wraps around you, soft as silk. Because maybe, just maybe, every time a star dies, a new world begins. Every fall, a flight. Every silence, a song. You return now to the edge of the black hole, where possibility pools like still water. You are not here to decide. You are here to imagine. And in that imagining, a great comfort unfolds. Black holes do not have to mean destruction. They can mean mystery. And mystery is never empty. It is full of beginnings we cannot yet see. You rest in that, letting the unknown rock you gently. Because not knowing can be peaceful, too. The stars drift on. The black hole waits. And the question, that luminous, timeless question, remains. Where does it lead? There's a kind of silence that only comes after everything has passed. After the music fades. After the weight lifts. After the black hole feeds no more. That's where you are now. Not in the moment of collapse, but in the soft hush that follows it. In the long exhale of a cosmic breath. Because even black holes, massive, timeless, eternal in feeling, are not forever. They fade. Not quickly. Not violently. But gradually, like a warm coal cooling beneath ash. This fading has a name, Hawking radiation. You may have heard the term, like a rumor from distant stars. Now you float close to its meaning. Stephen Hawking, the physicist who gave it voice, imagined something extraordinary. That black holes are not perfectly black. That they do not trap everything. That, at their edges, near the event horizon, something happens. Pairs of tiny particles constantly appear and vanish in the vacuum of space. A flicker, a heartbeat, a blink. Normally, they annihilate each other immediately. But near a black hole, one of the pair can fall in, while the other escapes. And that escaping particle? It takes a little energy with it. Slowly, softly, the black hole loses mass. Not by swallowing, but by leaking. It is the faintest of drips. A candle melting over cosmic time. You drift near an ancient black hole now. One that has long stopped feeding. Its accretion disk is gone. No jets. No light. Only its quiet, curved shadow remains. And yet, there's a hum. Not a sound. Not even a glow. But a soft pressure at the edge of space-time, like breath against a window. This is the end of its life. But it is not empty. The radiation continues. The black hole shrinks. Trillions of years pass in the space of a moment. You feel it, not as time, but as change. It becomes smaller, dimmer, lighter, until one day, one distant, forgotten day, it vanishes. Not in a burst, but in a whisper. And with it, something profound is released. The last of its memory. You may ask, what was inside? What was lost? That is the mystery. Because some theories suggest that nothing is truly erased. That the information inside, the story of every particle, every photon, is not gone. Just rearranged. Encoded in the radiation. Etched into the quantum foam. The universe remembers, even when it seems to forget. This idea, this hope, has a name too, black hole information paradox. A puzzle still unfolding. Do black holes destroy information? Or do they transform it? You don't need the answer. You only need the wonder. Because here, in the quiet aftermath, there is peace. The black hole is gone. But the space it curved remains. The echoes ripple outward. Somewhere, long from now, those echoes will touch new stars. New minds. New listeners. And perhaps they will feel what you feel now. That even the darkest things in the universe can end with light. Not in flash, but in warmth. Not in erasure, but in remembrance. You drift in that idea, letting it hold you like gravity once did. Nothing is truly gone. It only changes shape. The black hole gave itself to the universe, particle by particle, until all that was left was quiet, And in that quiet, a question rises like a final breath. If even black holes can die, what does that mean for everything else? Not in fear, but in awe. If endings are not destruction, but return, then maybe you, too, are always on your way home. You have floated through darkness, fallen into gravity, spiraled through time, through silence, through the hunger of black holes. You have watched light bend, matter sing, and space itself ripple. And now you come home. Not to a planet, not to a place, but to a truth. You are stardust. And not in metaphor, not in poetry, but in the deepest, simplest science. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your breath, all of it forged in stars long gone, long before Earth, long before the sun. There were stars, ancient and bright, burning through hydrogen, collapsing into heavier elements, then scattering themselves into space through supernovae, their final gift. From that scattered dust came you. You are made of matter that remembers fire. You've seen where that fire goes, into the hearts of black holes, into singularities, into echoes. But some of it stayed free. Some of it gathered into new stars, new planets, new life. And some of it became your heartbeat, your eyelids, your still, dreaming breath. You've spent this journey looking outward. Now, for a moment, turn inward. Close your eyes and notice. Your body is not separate from the cosmos. It is of it. Your breath moves in the rhythm of expansion and collapse. Your cells follow the geometry of galaxies, branching, spiraling, reaching. Your mind, the one floating now in sleep soft gravity, is shaped by the same forces that shape the stars. And when you dream, you're not escaping the universe. You're returning to it. To the deep, slow logic of orbits. To the silent story of motion and memory. You are not lost in space. You are held by it. Every black hole you visited on this journey, every spiral of light, every whisper of radiation, every ancient gravity well, was not foreign. It was family. You are what the universe creates when it wants to understand itself. You are not beside the cosmos. You are inside it, threaded through it. You are made of particles that have seen galaxies form and die. Particles that have rested in darkness, then glowed again. You carry black hole stories in your skin, starlight in your smile, nebulas in your quietest thoughts. And so now, as sleep deepens, let this be your lullaby. You are vast. Even as you are small. You are brief. And yet eternal. You are not falling. You are orbiting wonder. And everything you are, every whisper of thought, every shimmer of feeling, is part of a much greater rhythm. A rhythm older than stars. A rhythm still unfolding. So rest now, stardust. Let the silence of space cradle your breath. Let gravity curl around you like a soft, heavy blanket. Let your dreams open, not to escape, but to return. To float. To belong. To remember. And as you drift beyond waking, past the edges of thought, the universe continues. And somewhere, gently, a star is being born. Just like you.